El Mencho is dead, but what happens to his family? Imagine being the child of the most wanted man on the planet. No normal birthday parties, no ordinary school days, no life that doesn't carry the shadow of violence, power, and blood money. Now imagine that man is gone, shot down by the very government that hunted him for over a decade. The question everyone is asking is, what happens to the cartel? But the question nobody is asking, the one that might actually matter more, is what happens to his family. On February 22, 2026, the world changed. Nemesio Ruben Oseguera Cervantes, known to the world as El Mencho, was seriously wounded during a Mexican military operation in Tapalpa, Jalisco, and died en route to Mexico City from his gunshot wounds. He was 59 years old. The U.S. government and the Mexican government had been offering rewards of up to 15 million USD and 300 million pesos respectively for information leading to his arrest. And in the end, it wasn't a tip from an informant that got him. It was a woman. Mexican authorities tracked El Mencho after learning about his romantic rendezvous, and military intelligence services confirmed the location with critical additional information provided by U.S. intelligence. One of the most feared men in history, brought down not by a war, but by love, or something like it. But let's go back, because to understand what happens to this family now, you need to understand where they came from. El Mencho was born on July 17, 1966, in the rural community of Culotitlan in Aguililla, Michoacán. He grew avocados, dropped out of primary school, and immigrated illegally to the United States in the 1980s. This was not a man born into a cartel dynasty. He clawed his way up from absolute poverty. He built the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, the CJNG, from nothing into what became the single most powerful criminal organization in Mexico. And in doing so, he dragged his entire family into that world, whether they chose it or not. He had a wife, children, a stepson, and a brother. And today, every single one of them is either in prison, under investigation, hiding, or trying desperately to live a normal life under an extraordinary last name. Let's go through them one by one, because each story is more shocking than the last. Start with his wife, Rosalinda Gonzalez Valencia. It was later revealed that a major part of El Mencho's influence in the CJNG actually came through his marriage to Rosalinda, who was herself highly involved in drug trafficking and played a major role in the Queenies, the CJNG's main money laundering wing prior to her capture. Think about that for a second. El Mencho didn't just marry into a powerful family, he used that marriage as a ladder. And Rosalinda wasn't just a cartel wife standing in the background, she was an operator, she was sanctioned, she was captured, and yet the machine kept running. Despite this, El Mencho had separated from her in 2018 and was involved with a different romantic partner at the time of his death. After everything, after she helped build his empire, he moved on. And it was that new romantic partner who ultimately led authorities straight to his hideout. Now let's talk about his son, Ruben Oseguera Gonzalez, better known as El Menchito. He was supposed to be the heir, the crown prince, the natural successor to the most powerful cartel throne in Mexico. El Menchito was the natural successor as Oseguera's son. However, he was extradited to the United States in 2020 and faces drug trafficking and firearms charges in Washington, keeping him from direct operational control. Mexico City-based security consultant David Saucedo confirmed to CNN that due to El Menchito being jailed in the United States, the line of succession had been broken with no clear family successor. That's what happens when you build an empire on violence and secrecy. The moment you fall, there's no one ready to catch it. The heir is in a U.S. federal cell. The throne is empty. And then there's his eldest daughter, Jessica Johanna Oseguera Gonzalez, known as La Negra. Her story is one of the most remarkable in this entire saga. Jessica, 39, holds both U.S. and Mexican citizenship and was born in San Francisco, California.
In February 2020, she was arrested in Washington, D.C. while attending her brother El Menchito's criminal hearing and was charged with 5 counts of engaging in transactions with a designated foreign person as a CJNG member. Let that sink in. She went to support her brother at his trial and ended up getting arrested herself. She ultimately pled guilty to willfully violating the Kingpin Act by engaging in property transactions with multiple Mexican companies sanctioned for materially supporting the CJNG and was sentenced to 20 months in prison. She served her time and walked free in April 2022. But freedom didn't mean clean. Her name, her family, her record, none of that disappears. And interestingly, El Mencho's apparent hideout, a cabin complex called Cabañas La Loma in Tapalpa, had ties to Jessica, who had been involved in managing it going back over a decade. Even after prison, the threads of the family business still ran through her life. But if Jessica's story is remarkable, the story of his youngest daughter, Laisha Michelle Oseguera Gonzalez, is something out of a movie. Laisha is 24 years old, and until recently, she was living what appeared to be a completely ordinary life in Paris, California, running a small cafe called El Rincón La Chulis in a strip mall. The menu featured specialty drinks, Mexican mocha, iced horchata latte. Customers described her as warm, professional, approachable. Nobody had any idea who she really was. Then her father died and everything blew up. She appeared at El Mencho's funeral in Guadalajara in early March 2026, despite being accused of involvement in the kidnapping of 2 Marines in 2021, allegedly in retaliation for her mother's arrest. Her appearance sparked widespread criticism and viral social media attention over apparent impunity. Here is a young woman accused of orchestrating the kidnapping of military personnel, openly attending a public funeral in Mexico, completely unbothered. The internet exploded, and her husband, Cristian Gutierrez Ochoa, known as El Gaucho, was convicted in 2024 on charges of trafficking cocaine and methamphetamine and laundering cartel funds, and is currently serving an 11-year federal sentence. So her brother is in federal prison, her husband is in federal prison, her mother was captured, her father just was killed, and yet she showed up to the funeral. Then there's El Mencho's stepson, Juan Carlos Valencia Gonzalez, known as El 03 or El Pelón. Despite El Mencho separating from Rosalinda in 2018, El Pelón was still considered to be El Mencho's second in command by the U.S. Director of National Intelligence's National Counterterrorism Center. With no direct heir to his role available, his stepson, Juan Carlos Valencia Gonzalez, could be a logical successor, given that his mother, Rosalinda, played a major role in the Queenies, the CJNG's main money laundering wing, prior to her capture. If anyone steps up to try and hold CJNG together, it's likely this man. He has bloodline ties to the founding family, operational experience, and the trust of the inner circle. He is now one of the most dangerous and most hunted men on the planet. And finally, El Mencho's brother, Abraham Oseguera Cervantes, known as Don Rodo. Regarded as a founder of CJNG, Don Rodo was vital to the cartel's money laundering and property purchasing operations, reportedly working alongside CJNG notary public offices to manage property ownership changes for El Mencho. He was recaptured by Mexican authorities in February 2025 and was still in custody at the time of El Mencho's death. The brother who helped him build it all, behind bars. The wife who gave him his power, captured. The son who was supposed to inherit, locked in the U.S. The daughters, one out of prison, one attending funerals she probably shouldn't be attending. The entire family tree has been shaken violently, and almost every branch has either broken or is bending towards prison. So what happens now? Experts put it simply, El Mencho's removal is like saying a company will fail because you remove the CEO. The flow of drugs will continue, and there will be plenty of pretenders to the throne. Mexico will have to figure that out. Unlike the Sinaloa cartel, a two-family organization that fractured along familial lines, El Mencho led an organization with a far larger number of high-ranking figures who lack blood ties, making fragmentation violent and geographically far-reaching. The family is not going to ride in and reclaim the throne. That era is over. But here's the darkest truth of all. These children, Laisha running her cafe, Jessica trying to rebuild after prison, they didn't choose to be born into this name. They grew up in the shadow of a man the whole world feared. They watched their mother get arrested, their brother extradited, their husband convicted, and now their father is dead, killed in a military operation on a hillside in Jalisco. Whatever crimes were committed, whatever lines were crossed, there are real human beings left in the wreckage of this empire, and the world is watching every move they make. El Mencho is gone, but his family, scattered across prisons, courtrooms, coffee shops, and cartel hideouts, they're